I suffered with very low self-esteem.
Yeah.
I grew up, it's a certain way I grew up, and when you get told a lot of your life when you don't deserve nothing, like, and then you actually start believing that, and I say the imposter.
Welcome to another episode of Keeping It a Bean. Keeping It a Bean is where we bring together conversation, culture, commentary all over a cup of coffee. If you are new here, my name is Marquise Davon, This American Negro, but never Mark. You already know what it is. If you are not new here, welcome back. Hello to niggas and niggas only. You already know the vibe and what it is. I'm so happy to be back. First and foremost, if you want to support this here podcast, you can do so by liking and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Please go to Marquise Davon Productions. You already know what it is. There you can see a plethora of different videos and interviews right then and there. Also, please make sure if you're listening to this, on your way to work, in a commute, on the train, wherever you are at, make sure that you are leaving a rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Let me know your thoughts on the episode. Let me know what you're thinking about. What is impacting you, all that good stuff, because that really helps out podcasters. That helps us show up on different platforms. That helps us show up on these really dope lists as well. This is how you can support a podcaster non-monetarily. Also, word of mouth. That's so important. Make sure you interact with the hashtag Keeping It a Bean on Twitter or KIAB, as well as sharing the videos on YouTube, sharing the videos on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, wherever the hell you're at. Please help a podcaster out. However, if you do want to support me monetarily, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Marquise Davon. That's MarquiseDavon. On there, you can get more exclusive drops. You can get to see these episodes early, a week early when they're released. But that way, you can also help a podcaster. You can do it for as little as $2 a month, which is $24 a year, or whatever you would like to support me with. I appreciate you nonetheless. And then you'll also start getting some more exclusives to different events and merch that will be coming out very soon. So I'm super excited to see everybody over in the Patreon streets as well. I appreciate y'all. Other than that, shout out to the Philly Journal for having me on their show as well. It's been really dope just to have these different conversations. So y'all can see just different parts of me that I don't always express on this show, but I get to engage with them on other platforms as well. And some that you may see are very familiar faces on platforms I've been on before, so we're going to get into that conversation a little bit more. Other than that, please make sure to keep leaving me comments. Please make sure to keep interacting with the content. Thank you all so much. Let's get into the show. All right.
Oh, I know what that I was like thinking about watching, but when I watched the show, I'm like, oh, I know what that part.
And welcome back. We are now ready to get into this conversation. I have the dopest guest out here in Philly, the podcast that I thoroughly enjoy.
Don't do that to me.
I'm just saying. I thoroughly enjoy your work. Please, please, please. This is podcaster, author, father, partner, friend, brother, cousin, son, extraordinaire, but also all around just dope ass human. Marcus, welcome to the show. Good
Thank
brother.
you. Thank you, my brother. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Keeping It a Bean podcast today. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. And don't gas me up with them intros, man.
I'm going to gas you up because I'm such a fan.
I ain't never get no intro like that, man. I like it. He also missed, what
I miss?
Sex symbol.
Oh, stop
America's
playing with him.
Sex symbol.
If you didn't know, that's America's sex symbol right there. Good brother. Okay, that's Marquise. Stop playing with him.
Nah, thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Real quick, bro. Tell the people what you do as well. Outside of being a sex symbol, you also have your own podcast in itself. All right. I mean, shout out to the OnlyFans. We out here support black business.
That's how we started.
Where can they find you out in these streets?
Oh, you can find me at Mr. Moore the King on all my social platforms. That's X, formerly Twitter, Threads, Instagram, of course, TikTok, YouTube. I'm actually getting back into vlogging as well. And my podcast is King Status Podcast, and you can follow that on all platforms. King Status Podcast on everything, as well as Facebook. Mr. Moore the King as well.
Come on now.
Yep.
And we're gonna get into a couple of these things that you talking around. your book, talking around the podcast in itself, but I would love just for the audience to get to know you. And so we like to do like a nice little icebreaker type situation. And so we call this the Keeping It a Bean section. This is keeping it a bean, keeping it 100, whatever your hot take is. You get to share with the audience. It can be personal, political, pop culture, whatever you want to talk about, whatever's on your spirit.
Well, before I just want to leave y'all with this, because this is I said I was gonna make a content about this, but I'll just do it on the show. Keeping it a bean. Don't stop allowing people to have roles in your life that they didn't audition for, or that they don't even qualify for. Because we have so many people we put in roles in our life, and I'm not even just talking business and anything, but think about it like business in your life. Some people, you just trust them too much. You keep it a bean with them so much, and they don't keep it 1% with you. And sometimes they're just not with you. They're not the best. They're not with you for your best interest. And sometimes, you know how they say, some people are only here for a season. So you want to just be able to have those people around you that fit your lifestyle now, like as you're going in. And Marquise is one of those examples of, like, in adulthood, sometimes we got to walk away from just high school friendships of people we known in the past. And when you're trying to grow, they're just staying in that place. They just want to stay stagnant. And when you're trying to grow, sometimes you got to get out of the environment. You got to go find fresh soil, as they say, and just go grow somewhere else. And don't be afraid to meet other people. Don't be afraid to travel. Don't be afraid to go live and just meet other people. I never been the type to be no new friends because I lost friends, not due to death, just to what I'm speaking on now. Like they just, growth. And, you know, sometimes, you know, just the lying, they just don't fit where you're going in life. So, and that's what I want to keep it a being about. So get those people out of your life, even if they're close to you, or just distance yourself. Just give them distance and just say, hey, y'all are on that. If they're so used to just being intoxicated every weekend and you're just more like, hey, I want to start this show up and y'all want to be part of it. If they don't want to be part of it, go do it yourself. If they don't want to grow, you go grow, because then you're going to resent yourself and you're going to have a lot of regrets at the end of your life.
Ooh, I didn't know you were coming on here. All right, Pastor Marquise. Ready.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate you, man.
Dog, no, I love that, though, like, because that's been, for me, that feels like my season that I'm in right now. It's felt like it's been there for the last 6 or 7 months of just, like, learning who I am at this iteration, turning 28, and just like, oh, life is moving a little different now. Like, quite literally just lots of shifts going on. And I used to be so nervous around, like, letting people go because they'd be like, oh, you switched up on us, da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
But it's also, like, a natural part of, like, growth. And so with growth comes a lot of grief. And so, like, how do you navigate those losses, and how do you learn? Something I've been saying to me personally is, like, I'm going to be curious with the person that I'm becoming. And so, like, I don't know everything that I like right now. I don't know where I want to see myself in 5 years, but I am learning, like, oh, there's some new things that when people used to do certain things, oh, those don't jive with me anymore. My patience, the energy I used to expend on others is not the same. And so I was, like, learning, for me personally, I am learning to manage my energy around others and temper my expectations of other people, right? And I think that has been, like, such an important lesson, because I used to feed into relationships that lacked reciprocity. And now I demand reciprocity, and no matter where the friendship, relationship, familial, whatever the case may be, is there. And so it's been interesting, like, living that space. So you are speaking to my spirit right now.
And I'm definitely just speaking on exposure, because I brought my brother-in-law camera. He's a cameraman, Core Vision, and I literally told him, like, I want you to come with me because I want you to be exposed to this, getting in different rooms, meet people, and then even how y'all were chopping it up as we were in here, and like what he was saying, like, we're on press in here, so
dog, for real.
But you got to give that exposure, and don't be afraid to give other people that exposure as well.
Right, and I think that, man, you're speaking a lot of words, because that's something, and I'll get to my keeping it to be in a second. However, but
starting off hot,
right? Okay, already in here,
sweating already.
But I love that, because something I've learned to really appreciate about you as soon as we met is the fact that you embody what it means to, like, build an ecosystem out. You understand the value that people bring, and you will always expose somebody to something new. And I think that's so important, because oftentimes, like, whenever we get in like this content creation space, being podcasters, putting ourselves out there, we are entering the space of like building a platform. But oftentimes we try to like navigate that space alone, or feel like we got to figure it out before we can bring somebody else in to trust them to do it, and X, Y, and Z. But it feels like you've begun to build out your relationships, and you build out a space where people are able to come in, be invited, feel safe enough, and you are also able to help them grow because you are now allowing them access into your world, and you feel specific around like that too.
And you know where it stems from, and I'm not gonna lie, even getting into everything we're about to get into, I know this one thing starting early will probably answer everything really is I try to be the person I wish I had.
Yeah.
So when I want to build a community, I'm like, hey, if nobody's helping build one around me, I'm gonna build one around me. And if nobody's there to show other people and like where they can get the access to, like, because we don't know when everybody, including with you, I don't know when the first time I would have been here. Like, it could have been years later. And like, so when you ask, I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
so of course, like, but again, it's like because you want to build those, and then, you know, and this is just being real.
Yeah.
I tell people there's two ways of, it's different ways of being selfish or like, so you can, or taking advantage. I mean,
yeah.
Like, it's two ways of taking advantage. And I'm like, hey, why wouldn't I help out other people around me who have talent? So just in case things work out for them,
right,
I'm first in line.
Come on now.
Not saying it always happens, and I know to some people it may sound shallow, but at the same time, it's like, hey, because that's what I would do for somebody. Everybody who helped me out, I'm like, no, y'all are first in line when opportunities come. Definitely, if I know you have a skill, but of course we're going to be honest. It's like, yo, if you don't have a skill, I'm not just going to like hand it out to you. But it's like when you have a skill, you can, hey, come help me out with this.
And that's so important because that's just one. It gives them space to hone out their own skills, but also you build a rhythm with the people that you surround yourself with. And something I've been appreciating is the fact that like you actually inspired me to want to be more intentional around like the podcast ecosystem that we've been able to like build out and figure out different ways. Yeah, honestly. But it's dope because I'm just like, yo, it was so dope being on your show twice now. And I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to have Marcus on my show. Like getting the studio time booked out and just reaching out like right away of just like, yo, I would love to have you. Like you were, as soon as I booked out April's dates, I said, Marcus. But in reality, I'm just like, yo, this is dope because I think I look at other podcast networks that have like these ecosystems of people and everybody's like knows each other's podcasts and you're just like, why do I know this face? I've heard this name before. I know you spoke about this before. And so it's dope because it's now like getting to know your audience, getting to know my audience, but then also seeing like some of the cross-pollination that happens because so much of our mission feels so aligned to each other. The stuff we talk around, the things that we actually want to get done or at least model for other people.
Exactly.
It feels very aligned. And so for me, I was just like, dog, I see how you move. And I'm just like, cool, how do we cultivate specifically like this podcast ecosystem of people who are like, let me make sure I share your work when it is out. Let me make sure I'm on your show. Let me make sure that if I can support you in any way, what does this stuff start to look like? And how do we start to be more intentional with building out that space and building out this camaraderie of like when opportunity presents itself. Cool, I already know next opportunity, yo, Marcus, I see da-da-da-da's going on. Would you be down to like come here or would you be down to do this thing, right? But I think that's important. I think you model it so well. So I just wanted to like give you your flowers on like impacting me for real.
And I would definitely say you definitely impacted me on the movement of my show and where I was able because I just started watching your channel. I was like, And you know, sometimes all it takes is, well, if he did it, why don't I try it? And then I just see out. I'm like, yo, he set up the camera. He just and I'm like, everything is always easier when you have an intro. Like I was like, man, it was always hard for me. Like it's hard for me sometimes to just pull out the camera and just talk and then talk passionately. But I'm like, hey, when you got an intro and then like you could just go right in and then it helps you go in. But man, I appreciate you, man. I really do, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Oh, bro, we out here. We're gonna keep building.
Right.
Now, if I'm gonna keep it a bean, every one of you Cole fans, eat your fucking words, bro. Every single one of y'all. I'm gonna be honest. Had niggas apologizing.
was just talking about it.
Shit, I don't hear Kendrick got mad niggas apologizing to him on a regular basis. I'm sorry, that's the boogeyman.
Man, hey, because and like I was saying, I was like for this part of hip hop, I'm a hip hop head. I'm one of them people. So I enjoy this part of hip hop. I really enjoy this part of hip hop because it's like I said, when the drill rappers, I'm like, no, y'all don't need to do it because y'all actually killing each other.
Yeah, right. There's difference.
But when J. Cole says on first person shooter, hey, who's the best? K. Dot, Aubrey, or me? But right now I'm feeling like Muhammad Ali. He's still saying on this track with Drake, I am the best. So when Kendrick comes out and says, fuck your big three, it's just big me. I'm like, that's what I like. I'm like, yo, talk that. Like,
yes.
Like it's still like it's still competitive.
Yes,
that's what I
was
love
like,
about
there's a competitive nature. There's a rap. There's a sport to rapping, right? Like there are just some foundational rules that come along with rapping, and a beef is one of them. And the beef don't got to go anywhere beyond the lyrics, right? Like we should be able to know. Yeah, and just like talk your shit because people like a braggadocious person. People like when this happens. And so I was just like, dog, I don't even care about Aubrey. For real. Like, I'm sorry with y'all Drake stands. I love y'all. No, I don't. Y'all get on my nerves. However, Drake's been getting whacked for the last couple of years and ain't got no heat for nobody else. Like, and now he's making Instagram captions. I was like, who? Pusha whacked him. Meg whacked him a lot. And then also Kendrick, I said, yeah. See, I know that a lot of people like leaned in on that one line when it came to Nicki Minaj, but Drake is the one who caught the majority of shots in his.
Because when I heard that, I was like, I was able to pinpoint who. I didn't know her and Drake might have.
Yeah, because Drake was just like, this is the Meg that we appreciate when we're in Houston. And I said, oh, bro, don't even do that. Meg says, you're botched BBL. She talking around how he got his abs done. She talked around how he's posted up like a bad bitch in some other nigga's house. I said.
And you know what's funny? I literally was like, I wonder who she's talking about in that line.
Drake.
Because everyone, I knew the lines that was the baby. I knew the lines that was obviously Nicki. I knew the lines that was Tori. But I was like, what that part in particular, I was like, who is she talking about?
She was murking nigga left and right. And I said, I know everybody put it down to just like female rap beef, but she was whacking the fuck out of Drake.
Because I even said that, I was even saying that with the Ice Spice and Lotto. I was like, I have no problem with them saying, hey, this song is about you. When Lotto has a song, get on the floor, and Ice Spice responds, you on the floor, bitch, get up. Like, I'm
and
like,
the crazy part is, in reality, if they were to ever have a rap battle, Lotto's murking Ice Spice. Easy.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, that like Meg in a rap battle with Lotto, I think I would be thoroughly entertained by because they're both like battle rappers at their core. And that's what I appreciate about them. Yeah. And so I think they're kind of like leading the pack in a little bit of like what they're doing.
I don't know how many people give it up to Meg, like as far as men, but I'm one of them. Like when I first heard whatever that song was she did with the baby, I was like, I said, wait, she can spit. Like, she can really spit. Then even when she did the body, I'm not saying I'm in the song, I'm in the car playing that song, Body Yaddy. But I was like, when I really heard her verse, I was like, yo, at the art of rap, I was like, oh, Meg can rap her ass off.
Yes,
I said she can rap her ass off. So, but yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. They don't have to. It don't got to get dangerous.
No, and I don't think they ever going to get to that point because I think these are niggas who thoroughly respect each other's craft. However, it was just nice to see like that energy be brought back to hip hop because I feel like we've been in this space of everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And I know like hip hop's evolving, right? So like we don't have the 5 tenets of hip hop that people like really study anymore. And people aren't students of tradition of hip hop, of rap specifically. But now it feels like when you have some of those traditionalists or rap purists and shit like that doing their damn thing and beefing, I'm like, oh, there's the competition of like who's next up? Who's like the king? Who's like the person that everybody else wants to take down? And I don't know if we have identified that person in like this new generation, but at least Kenny and Cole were still, we saw a little bit of it. Even though he apologized, but we're still seeing a little bit of it. You feel
it kind of killed me when he apologized. I said maybe it was some things behind the scenes that we don't know, but.
Somebody tweeted, as a black man, I respect it. As a rapper, I don't respect it.
Yeah,
He said,
yeah.
you're keeping it. He says that's not the space that he's in right now, right? And that's okay to say.
Yeah.
But I said he's on his he's on his hermitage right now.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I was like, I definitely was like, I didn't understand it, but I was like, as a rap fan, but
Yeah.
but I guess I get it.
I mean, I guess it's fine, whatever.
I guess.
Nah, but that's it for the Keeping It a Bean segment. Thank you so much for like indulging in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping it a bean. I'm drinking, got tea in
Come
the cup,
on, you
bro.
already know what it is. And so now we're gonna move into the next segment. And so this is my tea pun. We're gonna steep into the conversation.
It was the air quotes.
You gotta let it marinate. This is the thing that people want to sit with a little
100%.
bit. Get some more flavor as it goes
Right.
on.
Yeah. Let me do that with you. Let me
You already
do it with
know.
you. Right? Let me do it with you.
Look like that damn
Yeah.
scene in Get Out. Just
Oh man.
oh shit. And so honestly, bro, like for me, the thing I really want to talk to you around is how you built the King Status podcast. But even beyond that, like your commitment to community, I think has been so dope to witness, especially as I think around the children's book, especially as I think about how you navigate as a Black man, to be honest. And I
Right.
think it is so dope to see because I'm like, I'm gonna start with the children's book first. Like,
Okay.
what inspired you to even start something like that? Was this something you wanted to do before you were a father, or is this happen? Okay, say more.
Now I'm keeping it a bean.
Keeping
I'm
it a bean.
And some things I didn't even say on my own show. So I wrote a book first.
Yeah.
I have a book already written. Wrote it all in 2019.
Yeah.
The thing with that is, and you know, this is some game for other people too. Just sometimes in reality, I let a few people see it that, like, you know, people, librarians, and then I let my mother hear it. I let my mother read the introduction.
Yeah.
And the best advice I got as far as like when it comes to this space and the time that we're in was from my wife and my mother. My wife said, people buy into you. So you have to, like, so they have to see that. But when my mom read the introduction, she said, this is great, but you have to make people see you that way. And because I'm going to just spoil it, keeping it a bean.
Yeah,
What you
come
got
on
in this
now.
tea?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We out here.
What you got in
We
this
just
tea?
honest. It's a good space to be in.
Right. So it's about leadership.
Yeah.
But my mother was like, I know she probably, and I understand. That's why at a time, so my plan started becoming, okay, let me build the podcast up.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, right after that, while I'm in the middle of writing that, I found out I was becoming a father.
Yeah.
So when I became a father, everything changed.
Yeah.
So, and I did an interview before, and they asked me, did you ever think you would do a children's book? I said, maybe down the line, just because I'm just a creative person.
Yeah.
But when fatherhood came, and all I thought was, what is it that I want? What is it that I want her to know, just in case I'm not here? If I ever left this earth early,
Yeah.
what message do I want her to have, whether I'm here or not, but that can she can live through life, but at the same time understand in the beginning stages, because you know children, they're sponges the most since they're born to 5 years old.
Yeah.
Like, so, and I was just like, you know what, a children's book, make it fun, put the message there, but make it easy, but where the message is so simple, but it's complex.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those, like, because the greatest question I got asked, I ain't know if you was going here, but you got me going, man.
on
Like,
now.
you know, I could talk. But,
Please.
and I got asked in the other interview, when I got asked about that, they said, when your daughter's your age now, what is it that you want her to say she learned the most from you? I said, to not be easily influenced. If you're not easily influenced, you'll get through life easy.
Right.
If you're just you'll get through it. So my first children's book is I Can Do All Things, BarnesandNoble.com. You can order it on there.
Come on now. Let people know.
And that was just more like, you know, I could do it based on Philippians 4:13. I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So it's just like, hey, believe. But it's like, but the book is I Can Do All Things. It's just about a young girl that can just like, hey, whenever somebody says she can't do something, say I can do all things, and you believe it. And as long as you believe God is with you, you can definitely do it. And then my second book, A Crown Fit for You.
Come on now.
Barnes and Noble, children's book. That was more of like, it definitely fits the brand of, you know, King Status, Mr. Moore,
Yeah.
King, everything. But it was also the crowns represent, like, how our uniqueness.
Yeah.
Like, how we all have different thumbprints. So the book, it shows all the kids with different crowns, different shaped crowns, different color crowns, and it represents their uniqueness, and it teaches them, hey, like, I have a part in there where it says it's a symbol of self-love and self-respect.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is one of the key things. And then where I'm saying at the end of it, it'll be never give it away, because it will always be more valuable than money, diamonds, and gold.
Yeah.
Because we know through life, when people give themselves up, they just give themselves to anybody, and like spiritually, physically, anything, and you let other people have control of that, then where's your identity?
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, because I'm one of those people, I really stand on that. Hey, I don't love money that much to make me do something where I feel like I'm selling my soul.
Yeah.
So, and really turn on, like, somebody can't say, hey, I got $1 million, go kill Marquise. No,
Right.
like, I don't love money that way.
Right.
Like, so, and I feel like when people do, you gave yourself up. So I'm more like with the crown. But to continue answering your question, answering your question, no, I didn't until fatherhood came in, and that's when that got pressed. But then it was also, let me start off with children's book, because people don't know me to be an author either.
Yeah.
So when I'm thinking about what my mom said of make people see you that way, so what's the easiest thing they can see while in this stage of my life?
Yeah.
They just see me become a father.
Right.
So it's the easiest way to
It's
understand
an easy through line.
Exactly. It's the easiest way to see, oh, I see where that came from, because he just became a father. But then now that gave me the author stamp. So with the author stamp comes with as trying to get to that place. Like,
right.
Because I need that book to drop. Like I want it to really be like, because I know some of the things I wrote in that book, the book I have, I'm not going to say the name yet, but the one I have in the tuck, because I was like, no, this can't be one of those books, because I know people will be shocked that I even wrote it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know a lot what's in my head.
Right.
But that's why the podcast and doing this helps. It helps me show that.
Which I think is like perfect though too, because even as like one, just watching you move, it is a beautiful space of authenticity. It's a model for other Black men to bear witness to.
Thank you.
But not only that, like, you have this continued through line of you're grounded in self, right? And so I don't know if that is through your faith, but also just like your uniqueness of who you are. But every single time you speak about something, it is ensuring like you are continuously letting people know to understand their worth. You're continuously letting people know like you are somebody. And every time I think around your message, you're like, everybody might not wear the crown the exact same way, but there is something there for you. And as I hear you talk around your children's book, as I hear you talk around how you want to be perceived, how you want to be remembered, ultimately thinking around like, what does your legacy look like, and how does there a through line that stands through that? You are somebody I see who is very understanding of who you are and the impact that you want to leave. And it feels like it's just like a smooth through line that you are leaving, not only for your actual bloodline, but for other people and young Black people to be able to see. And you do it in a way, in my mind, in my opinion, that still feels super accessible. It feels like other people can attain what you are achieving. And it's not a way of just like, well, y'all niggas can't do that over there. Like, here's what I have done, and here's my reflections. And so, one, I think there is you are so fucking intentional with things that you put together. But then, he said, it's a little bit of a strategy, but also,
I'll tell, because like I said in the beginning, I said, I know that one thing I said will answer every question you have. I said, I just wish, I try to be the person I wish I had. But to answer what you just said, it's because I battled so much for a long time with that, because I'm one of them, and I've always been open about it on the show. Like, I suffered with very low self-esteem. I grew up, it's a certain way I grew up, and when you get told a lot of your life when you don't deserve nothing, like, and then you actually start believing that, and I say the imposter syndrome kicks in, and the last thing I ever want to do is make anyone else feel like that, but then save someone else from having to begin their journey like that.
Dog, that's so fun. Oh man, that's so real. And like, Thank you. I keep saying it, but like, thank you for like modeling that, because I think that's so hard for so many people to understand. And particularly as like Black men, I think we struggle with admitting something like that out loud.
Absolutely.
Because I know I struggled for the longest to understand my own worth, right? I just said it on your show. Like, I connected my worth to wanting to be seen by my father. I connected my worth to everybody else externally, but I just didn't want to be abandoned, right? And so the things that I was insecure about was like just feelings of inadequacy, of just like, out on the external, they're like, yeah, you got straight A's, you went to college, you got a job, you did this, you're fine, right? But in reality, there was still like a piece of me that was not fully fulfilled. And so hearing you talk around this a little bit more, I think it just keeps reinforcing the fact that like so many of us need to bear witness in order to get permission, in order to simply be sometimes. And I feel like your platform feels very proactive in that too. And that's for the everyday niggas too. And I think that's the piece that's important, because we know sometimes when niggas get access to therapy, get access to money, get access to space and all this other stuff, all right, y'all can do this on your own. Like, this is what it was. But in reality, none of us are getting there by ourselves.
Exactly.
And I think that's important to note. And something I'm curious around, because you would say you're religious? Spiritual?
Not religious. I will say.
How would you identify?
I believe in Jesus. I'm a follower of Christ. Yes, but I always tell people. I even said on the show, I don't paint me as holier than thou. We were just in here talking about hip hop, and I don't hide from that. I still hang around rappers, so you might see me with some gangsters sometimes. But I was like, I don't let that define me, and that's one of the things I allow. I'm glad I did have an older brother to teach me that. He taught me what being real was. So I always say, like, even though I'm the cool, chill guy, if I have an issue with you and you stick your hand out, I'm gonna look at you like you crazy. Right. That's why I always say when that thing happened when Tory Lanez and them jumped August Alsina, I said, I'd have been jumped too. Because I said I left a few people hanging in my life because I said, it's just certain things. I'm like, especially if I say, hey, if this is where we left off at, hey, we're not about to just act like we're cool. Let's put this on the table. Right. Like, so. And so I am thankful that I did have an older brother to teach me what it was like to really keep an authenticity. And that's why I say, like, if you're not easily influenced, because I learned, hey, as long as you're you, they'll respect you. That's why I'm saying, I'm like, man, I'm cool with some gangsters. Nah, truly. And they are fine with me just being how I am. Because even back then, I always say I wanted the same thing. I wanted females and money. Like, I wanted the same thing. Like, and I'm not around. I'm not here to preach on it like my little brother in here right now. And they're the young guys. I like clowning with them and hooping with them. But I was like, I don't want to be. Even when I was saying when my nephews came by, I told them I was like, I didn't want to be the old head hanging with the young guys. Like, I wanted to be, when I got older, I wanted to be older. Like, you're growing. Exactly. That's why I had a lot of fun when I was young. And I just want to have fun in a different type of way. And things like this is fun to me. I love doing this. This is different, man. Thank you for exposing me to this.
Nah, truly, honestly, like, it's so dope. And I only asked the question because I was like, what I think I really want to ask is, like, what keeps you grounded into remembering who you are? Like, what is there something you do every day? Is there something you say to yourself? Is there a particular scripture that stands out to you? Like, what is the thing that grounds you?
Mr. Moore the King.
Say more.
Because
no pun intended.
The king.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
It almost flew past me.
The intrusive thought's been kicking my ass.
But no, because the king stems from, it was a place where I really had to start telling myself, hey, be the king of your own world. If you can't be the king in the world, be the king of your own world. And that's what matters. And that's where the crown fit for you comes from. And if anybody noticed watching my show, at the end of my show, I always say, no one can fit the crown that's meant for you. That's the same way I ended the book because I wanted to let it be known. The same way nobody has your fingerprint, nobody can fit the crown that's yours. So nobody can take that away. You can only give it away. You can only put it down and all that. But that's why in that children's book, because even my mother said, a few people said when they read the book, they were like, I think adults should read this too. Yeah. Like, so, and I thank Wissahickon School, Wissahickon Charter, for allowing me to be part of that legacy and being part of my legacy. Because I did get the text message recently after reading to the kids, and they said the librarian he kept the signed copy for himself, but he's still reading it to the kids. Yeah. And man, I'm telling you, man, what the gratitude I had with that, because I literally went to my wife and said, because now my legacy is stamped there.
Yeah.
I don't know how long this book is going to keep being read to all these new faces that come, but now my legacy of my words will always be there. All because of what I wanted to tell my daughter, but also share with everybody else, because I was like, if I want my daughter to know this, I would love the other kids to know this. I was gonna say black faces, but that book I did put diversity, because I'm not gonna. I got Puerto Rican nephews. I got a white niece. I show all the
represent
faces.
your community.
Exactly. So, but I was like, I'm my mindset is more global.
Yeah.
I'm for my community, but I'm not gun-ho to my community.
Yeah.
So if I'm like, so that's why even anything, like, because my whole like, as far as the creative brand of me is for fostering creativity and diversity. So I don't really care if you're a good person. I'm just like, if you're a solid person, I don't care if you're white, black, LGBTQIA. I don't care what you're, short, tall, big. I don't. It doesn't matter to me, because I met solid people all different ways, and I'm like, but I'm always gonna be from my community first, my black community first.
Facts, and that I'm with you there. Like, and I think that's so important to like recognize, because something I think is important, and I think people forget it sometimes, is the more that you live in your authenticity, those same people who are living in their authenticity and confidently living in their authenticity, they're naturally going to gravitate to a personality like yours, because they're like, I need that same kind of energy, because you can tell a person who may not be authentically them. You can tell a person a mile away who's trying to get something from you and consistently take. But in your authenticity, it's not only that people are gravitating towards you, but you're radiating this out to so many other people. And I keep saying, like, people, you give so many of us permission to just keep being, and there's so many different types, because I think around like how we talk around it all the time, we're both essentially preaching the same thing. We both set up our show the same way.
Exactly.
But sometimes our audiences may look different. The people we reach are different, just because how you and I even just present, right? Like we come from very similar-ish, but different community at the same time.
But we know how I said on my show. I said we say the same thing. He just says it very more educated. Like that's how he was being modest right now. But I definitely said that on my show. I said he says it so much more educated. Like I just try to give it in the way, like, and the most
how you
honest
talk.
way. Yeah, exactly. And going back to your other point of legacy, I don't shy away from that at all. I'm definitely one of those. I want that picture in my great grandkids' house where it's like, this is your great granddaddy. Like, he set all this up for you. Oh no, I don't shy away from that. I'm big on legacy. And I think us as men, we should really be focused on our legacy and who we want to make sure we're taken care of, even when we're not on this earth. When I found out I was having a child, I got life insurance. Wayne got life insurance and everything. So, and that's why I'm like on top of the books. But I want to make sure, whether I'm here or not, you are like my family is taken care of, that I created. Yeah. And I don't, and whoever's attached me, I don't, like, it's not a big deal. Like, right. But I'm just saying, but that was my mindset. So I think legacy also showed me a lot of who I was. It just makes me, because I accepted that. Like, so I don't have a problem with, hey, because I definitely always say, as far as the show goes, I always feel like it'd have been so easy for me to talk about my sexcapades and everything. And I'm not knocking anybody who does that because it works for them. I'm just saying I felt like that would have been too easy for me. Yeah. And that's not my life anymore. Right. So it's like, why talk about it?
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that's important too, because I think it's funny. A couple of my guests, like, some of their topics actually are around like sex, dating, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, we all do it.
Let's be very clear. Because someone hit me up, they was like, "Why don't you talk around like dating more often? Why don't you talk about?" She's like, "Because I'm not that kind of podcast, right? I wanted a space that could be different for folks, but also wanted to model what reflection looks like." And so something I think you do, like, I loved the question you asked. How do you deal with? You didn't say how do you deal with shame. How do you deal with frustration?
Or you talking about who'd you have on the show? You asked a really good question, and like, what's their relationship? What's your relationship with stress?
With stress, yeah. Yes. And I love that because, like, you allow people to be reflective, but you also get to tell your relationship to your own emotions. And so, when did you get to the point where you were like, I want this space to be more reflective than anything. I want this space to be introspective. Like, when'd you get into that point?
The more I watch the generation behind me and the younger folks like coming up, because I don't want them to make the same mistakes. And I say because even with my nephews and everybody, and my little brothers, all of them, because I said I don't know if everybody can handle certain things that I had to go through. Right. And people don't even know the full story. Sometimes I forget the full story.
Look, honestly, memory's a bitch. It works in a funky way.
Yeah, but yeah, because I'm just really big on that. Like, I don't want people to have to, then the people that I'm ultimately responsible for in a way that I don't want them to necessarily have to go through anything that I might have went through, because some of it was tough and some of it I didn't understand. Like, I'm still mind boggled some of the things I made it through, because I was like, wow, especially when you're not shown certain things and then you're just thrown into the fire. But I'm also that type of person. Like, sometimes the easiest way for me to learn and go in is just to go in.
The stove is hot. Oh, you learned that shit 3 times, didn't you?
But maybe if I just hurry up and pick it up and move it, like, I won't get burned as bad. Like, I'll figure it out. Like, but at the same time, that's what, and again, that's where the legacy comes in. It's like, and the books come in. It's like, what do I want people to take away that I seen work for me, and also that I learned in life, help me move forward. But also, when they're not there yet, it's even easier, because then now it's like, hold up, don't do this, don't do this. So, and then that's why I say, and then watching them all, like, they're all growing up, because like I said, I keep bringing up my nephews, because it just, like I said, when you came, it threw me. I was like, my nephews are teenagers. They're my height. Like, and it's just like, and what they're getting into, and it's just like, okay, and then when my sister tells me, hey, go talk to them about, go get them, like, go really pull them by the coattail. But and I did feel kind of guilty. I'm going off here, but because I did leave, going back to when I said you got to grow in an environment, but I felt like the environment I was in wasn't conducive to what I wanted to do in life. That's why I come into Philly. You see, look where I'm at right now. And I feel like that's always what I wanted. So it was just like, but like I said, but my books, my show, it helps. This show, it helps me, bringing people like you on. It really helps me be able to get those messages out. Like, hey, I'm telling you, still go have fun. You're still going to make mistakes, whatever. But just make sure you're thinking like this and moving like this, because when this happens to you, you may feel like this. And, and then also, like, with King status, is just letting people know, hey, we are black men, and we are, like, we may have this strength, but some of us do need reassurance. Some of us are looking for healing. Some of us do cry behind closed doors. Some of us do need prayer. Like, and that's what I wanted my show to really put out there, like that. Hey, we have a voice, and we need a voice, and that's a lot of where it stems from too. Like, when you grow up and you feel like you don't have a voice, you yearn to have a voice. So that's why a podcast, a book. I used to do music, everything. It was just my way to express myself. Art, like, you got to see my art in my house. Like, it's just my way of expressing myself, because I always yearn to have that voice. So that's why I really can't stop. Thank you for, like, a moment like this, because it's just, and I'm going to tell you off camera how much more you're helping me, man. Like, but yeah. Keeping it a beam. What he put in this? What did he put in this?
Well, that was like that. So what the hell was that?
Like, what is going on?
Like, man, look.
What you got back
we
here?
here. I said we get to live in the authenticity of who we are, honestly. And thank you for sharing so much today. Like, there was so much. Like, I can't wait to just have you back on the show. I can't wait to, like, release this episode. I'm so full from this conversation, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you, man. Thank you. If you don't mind me asking, when you think about dropping this?
Huh?
When you think about dropping this?
This will be dropped in 2 weeks.
What date exactly?
That is, what's today? The 8th. There's the 15th to 22nd. It will be dropped.
2 days before my birthday.
Shut
this
up.
Episode will
Shut
drop.
Up.
No, I was waiting for you. I was like, he say Wednesday, dropping on my birthday. Gift for y'all. What he got in this tea, man?
I don't know, but it's alignment. Stop playing with it.
That's why when you said, I was like, I think he's gonna drop her my birthday week. And that's gonna be.
That's the people when it started off. Let's go. Bro, honestly, I keep saying it, but thank you.
We gotta continue this conversation.
Yeah, this is the first of many. Not even the first, this is what, our third or fourth or fifth, whatever the fuck we're on now. But this episode, like when I tell you, I just appreciate you being honest, being vulnerable, letting people know about who you are. I got to learn some new things about you today as well in this conversation, and I'm fucking proud of you, like just going through it, like honestly and truly. So keep being a model for the young Marquise. Keep being a model for the future Marquises of the world.
Thank you.
For your daughter, for other people within our community, because it's so important. And so, dog, thank you. You kept it a whole ass beat in this episode.
He got something in his tea, y'all.
I don't know. It's just, it's
careful.
just the environment, the ambiance.
I got lavender chamomile. Like,
look, okay.
He put something in this.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Some truth telling.
Yep.
But before we go, please let the people know where they can find you.
Mr. Moore the King on all platforms. King Status Podcast on all platforms. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Keeping It a Bean podcast. Please go subscribe to King Status Podcast. And I'm also vlogging now, so you can follow me on YouTube at Mr. Moore the King as well. And I would love to connect with anybody on the same mission or whatever respective talent you have or creative, man. I'm just ready to work, man. I'm ready to work.
Come on now. And that ain't nothing but a word. I'll make sure to leave all of his contact information right in the description box below. I'll make sure every single time you see a post, he will be tagged. Please make sure that you follow this man. You will not be disappointed in content. It's always wonderful conversation, something I can sink my teeth into. Again, thank you. Please make sure to like, subscribe, follow at Marquise Davon across all social media platforms. I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all next week. Peace.
And no one can fit the crown that's meant for you.
Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. Good brother. I appreciate
Man, thank you.
Man,
that was dope.